A pleasant day to everyone. So this is your last topic that we have for your Philippine readings in Philippine history. And once again, for the last time of our lectures and the series of all our lecture videos, this is your Mom Hazel Cherry Rose Villanueva. And this will be uh, the topic that we will talk about is one of the most practical things that we need to learn about is the basics of the Philippine taxes. So, this is the introduction to Philippine taxation, and taxation in the Philippines has evolved significantly since the pre-colonial times. So, before the Spanish arrived in the Philippines, the primary form of taxation was the sharing of a portion of family or a person's harvest with the datu or the ruler of the barangay in exchange for protection. So early forms of taxation included distributes and uh, labor obligations that the common people offer to their datu or their chieftain. The introduction of formal taxation only began during the Spanish colonization in the 16th century. So, tawag po natin doon ay dati ay buwis or handog. Handog, a tax paid in the form of crops or good. So the following people ho, meron din po silang exemption for the tax, for paying the taxes, which who are the mahalikas or the nobility. So they are the ones who offer the protection. Sila yung the chieftain and his family. The dato is the ruler naman po ng barangay, is also the one offering din ng uh, protection. Yung Harlika is kumbaga sila yung nobility. They might be the family of the dato and or any rich clan na nandun po sa kanilang community. So the Oripon or the slaves, so they lived to serve and couldn't offer anything. Wala silang kayamanan eh. So what happens is that the only thing that they could give is their labor obligation. So the barangay was the unit of government in the pre-colonial Philippines. And with each barangay being a settlement of only about 30 to 100 families. So the datu can gain the position through inheritance, wisdom, physical prowess, and wealth, di ba? Alam naman natin yan from our Philippine history that when a person becomes a datu, siya po yung either pinakamalakas, pinaka-wise, or pinakamayaman sa kanilang lugar. So the Philippine taxation during the pre-colonial era, uso din po yung barter. So pwede rin pong ang tax ang tawag doon natin ay pwede pong maging crops or goods, kung ano man po ang pwede mo maihandog or maialay sa dato or sa maharlika na magbibigay sa iyo ng proteksyon in the form of protection po in the community kung saan po kayo ay nakatira. So what is taxation? So taxation is the primary purpose of taxation is to generate funds for the country to finance the needs of the people or the citizenry and to advance commonwealth. So our government chiefly relies or umaasa lang po sa taxation to obtain the means to carry on its operations. So they are mandatory to us, lalo na po sa mga nagtatrabaho. It's a mandatory, a certain amount or percentage is being mandatory to impose to the people or to those who are earning salaries or money, and they also for the goods, for the services na taxes po nating binabayaran. So these taxes fund public services and infrastructure. The road that your jeepney or your car or your bus has gone through this morning is one of the fruits of your taxes. The taxes you pay also finances the healthcare service like the PhilHealth, di ba, na ini-enjoy po natin dahil nababayaran po ng taxes ng mga Pilipino. So understanding taxes is essential for responsible citizenship. And bakit po ito essential, pag-uusapan po natin. Bago po dyan, ay mapupunta muna tayo sa taxation after the pre-colonial era. So during the Spanish colonial period, the Spaniards implemented the bandala, or a forced labor system, and tax on agricultural products. So this bandala have funded the colonial administration and religious institutions. So how do you think these early tax systems affected local economies and governance? And these early forms of taxes actually have so many effects or on effects on the Filipinos, especially the local Filipino workers na nasa agricultural system. So the Bandala system was a direct tax system implemented by the Spaniards that forced native Filipino farmers to sell their goods to the government at a very low price. Ano po yun? Imbis na ibebenta nila privately and they have their own buyers, hindi po pwede because the government of Spain is the one buying the goods or the crops that they produce in the fields or sa kanilang farm. So the Spaniards used these resources generated from the Bandala system to finance the maintenance of the islands, including the salaries of government officials here in the Philippines and the clergy. Ibig sabihin po yung mga pare, nagsusweldo din po mula sa taxes na binibigay ng Filipinos, and the rewards for defenders of the territory. So pati mga sundalo natin ng Spain, tayo din po ang nagbabayad. So there was like iba-ibang klase pa. It's more than just the bandala, meron pa po tayong tributo. Tributo is a system, pakisulat niyo po yan ha. Tributo is a system of taxes and tributes imposed on the natives to generate resources for the Spaniards. Meron din pong polo y servisyo. So this one is forced labor that requires adults or Filipino adult males to work for 40 days a year on public works and projects. For example, gagawa po ng tulay ang mga Spanish government, they will get adult Filipinos over 18 years old, at sila po ay ilalagay at magsiservisyo po sila sa Spanish government for 40 days. So kung ang project ay sa Bicol at ikaw ay taga Tondo, dadalhin ka po from Tondo to Bicol. And alam ko meron po yan salary like 10 or 12 reales noong time na yun. But these amounts were never either corrupted by the Spanish leader na may hawak sa kanila or with the religious sector. Halimbawa, nagpapagawa ng simbahan, hindi sila babayaran ng mga pare. So there's also the encomienda system wherein forced labor required the indigenous community leaders to pay tribute to the colonies with food, cloth, mineral, or providing laborers. Ito yung kumbaga parang hacienda na under sa patiwalang isang Spanish na amo. So siya halimbawa buong Marikina inassign sa isang Kastila, and that encomienda, the entire section of Marikina ay under his care. So siya yung bahalang mag-produce ng mga crops, ng mga kailangan, at within sa kinasasakupan niya pwede siyang kumuha ng workers that will work on his area. So, parang forced labor lagi ang ating binibigay. So, it's like labor obligations and also some forms of goods or sometimes money as well ay kinukuha sa atin. During the American colonial influence, so the American colonial era introduced a more structured tax system in the early 20th century. Paano po yun nangyari? So they have varied types of taxes na in-implement sa atin. So we have the property tax, we have the poll tax, the commerce tax. Ito lang po yung mga examples. So meron din po silang tinatawag na head tax, a tax on individuals. They also have real estate tax, a tax on real estate or sa mga gamit na ay sa mga sa mga lupa at mga bahay natin. So they also have tea tax, di ba? Yung kumbaga pag nag-produce ka ng tea or bumili ka ng tea, ang laki din po ng babayaran mo na tax. So they also have excise tax, a tax on specific goods and services such as tobacco and alcohol. Actually, itong excise tax, di ba, ini-implement pa rin hanggang ngayon? Kasi meron din po tayong excise tax for alcohol and cigarettes. So, import duties or import taxes, they have a tax for imported things or things that you buy from outside the country, and faculty taxes, a tax on some occupations. So, tulad kami mga teachers, nagbabayad din po kami ng tax. Diba? Now, after the Revolutionary War, the Constitution gave Congress the power to impose taxes, and states were responsible for collecting them and sending them to the federal government. So, yun po, sila po yung nagkukolekta, mga Amerikano, and then may iba-iba silang binigay, no? Okay. The Bureau of Internal Revenue was created in 1904. Ito po yung under the American rule dito sa Philippines. At nagkaroon po tayo. So yung mga taxes na sinabi ko sa inyo, ang pinakasikat talaga doon ay licenses tax, excise tax, and property tax. So in the 1930s, additional taxes like income tax and inheritance tax were introduced. So that's during the American colonial period. So, post-independence taxation in 1946, the Philippines faced the challenge of rebuilding its economy. So, tayong mga Pilipino na nag-govern sa sarili nating bansa. And post-war era, or yung after na iniwan tayo, or sa war ng Japanese and American war in the Philippine territory, ito po nangyari ay we have to recover from all those damages in the infrastructure as well as sa mga kabuhayan po ng mga Pilipino. So the National Internal Revenue Code was enacted to streamline tax collection and administration. So how do you think independence influenced the development of tax policies in the Philippines? So these tax policies in the Philippines ay by the Americans were actually carried on until the time na tayo po ay nakadevelop ng sarili nating government. And based on your Philippine Constitution, dun din po in-implement ang changes with the structure of taxation in the matter of the changes in the Philippine Constitution. So contemporary taxation issues, current taxation in the Philippines includes income tax, value-added tax, and excise tax. Ito po yung mga ongoing debates focus on tax reform, yung efficiency niya, equity in the tax system. So ito po yung mga ongoing debates that has been making changes sa mga system ng taxation natin. So what are some potential reforms you believe could improve the Philippine taxation system? You discussed that in the YouTube comment link, okay? So what are your potential reforms that you believe could improve the Philippine tax system? Kontento na ba kayo na meron tayong 20% na tax for those who are earning in a certain bracket, or is it are you okay now kasi meron tayong di ba, kapag minimum wage earner ka, you are tax free. So ano pang ibang mga proposals do you think can help improve the Philippine tax system? So the role of taxes in the society, sila yung nagbibigay na sa atin ng fund for the education, healthcare, and infrastructure. Tulad nyo po, dito sa Marikina Polytechnic College, the public state college is given free tertiary education. In what way? The government finances the sweldo, ito yung mga sweldo namin, ay ang gobyerno po nag-i-sponsor, nagbabayad ng inyong tuition fee that needs to be paid para po mapaikot ang function ng school. But since you are on the government, on a government school, ang nangyayari po ngayon ay libre po yung inyong pag-aaral because the government is paying your education for free. And that payment came from the taxes of the people. So healthcare also, the universal healthcare system tawag dito, for free for senior citizens also came from our taxes, di ba? And every barangay also has free checkup and sometimes free medications. And these are budgeted yearly or annually from the taxes that that our government collect from the common people. Infrastructure is also improved and built every time or every year, like dagdag po na buildings for the Department of Education, di ba? Kasi dumadami yung enrollees. Additional hospitals and clinics in every barangay, di ba? Na ini-improve naman every year. So they play a crucial role in reducing inequality and promoting social welfare. So para sa ikabubuti ng society po ang pinaka-goal po ng taxation natin. So how do you feel about the impact of taxes on your community's development? Ito, mas madali nyo itong sagutin kung ito yung pipiliin yung tanong. So the community's development sa inyong lugar, ano po sa tingin ninyo ang nagamitan ng taxes ng mga Pilipino para kayo po ay magkaroon ng improvement sa inyong community? Now, the types of taxes in the Philippines are the following. Ito po yung pinaka-example, pinaka-common. So, we have income tax, tax on individual and corporate earnings. We have the value-added tax, tax on goods and services. And third is tax on property. Property tax is on real estate properties. So, ito po yung una nating pag-uusapan. The income tax. Kasi ito yung pinaka-importante. Wala naman siguro sa atin ang makukontentong walang trabaho, di ba? And most of us are trying to finish our college or our education so that we can also become employed balang araw, di ba? On the career or the dream jobs that we want to have, di ba, sa buhay natin. Now, individual income tax are based on earnings from employment and business. And this individual tax, meron pong brackets po yan. If you're earning 250,000 a year, okay, sa isang taon, meaning you are earning like 12 or 11,000, 12,000 and below, yan, pwede ka pong tax-free. Or ibig sabihin, the minimum wage earner here does not have any tax to pay. So, kapag naman ay ikaw umabot sa 250,000 to 400,000, hindi sobra sa 400,000, you will have 15% ng iyong earnings ay magkakaroon ng, pag sumobra ka sa 250, example, sumobra ka ng 100,000, naging 350,000 ang iyong sweldo. Ang mangyayari ay yung 100,000 ay palalagyan ng 15% na tax. Pero hindi grabe kakaltasan yung 250 mo. Yung sumobra lang sa 250 but not over 400,000. Ngayon, kapag ikaw naman ay kumikita ng 400,000 sa isang taon, meaning that's like sa 400,000 divided by 12, 40 divided by 12, that's like you are earning 30 plus thousand in a year. So, 30 plus thousand, may babayaran ka ng 22,500 plus 20% ng sobra sa 400,000. So, kapag sumobra ka pa sa 400,000, may percentage pang kukunin sa'yo. And so on. So, ayan po, 800,000, 2 million, 8 million. So, sa 8 million, halimbawa, artista, di ba? They are being paid 8 million per movie. So, ito po yung tax na babayaran nila. 2 million, 2.2 million of that 8 million will go to the tax. Plus 35 35% of the excess ng 8 million. For example, 9 million siya, di ba? So, over 8 million, halimbawa binayaran siya ng 10 million. So, 2.2 million will go as tax plus 35% pa noong over. Halimbawa, may 2 million pang over, kukuhanan pa yan ng 35%. So, sa 1 million lang, that's already 350,000. So, 2 milyon, magbabayad pa siya ng 700,000 maliban pa sa 2.2. So, halos 3 million ang mapupunta po sa 3 or 4 million ang pupunta po sa tax nung taong kumikita ng million. So, the higher your income is, the higher the taxes that you are going to pay the government. Kaya po, minsan na i-encounter natin ang mga tao yung nandadaya po ng kanilang income taxes because napakalaki po talaga ng babayaran. If you are earning a lot, then you are going to pay a lot. So, corporate income tax, if you have any more questions about this one, you can also search individual income tax. Kasi dito tayo tatamaan balang araw, di ba? Ito yung talagang, sa atin, apekto sa atin directly. So, corporate income tax, ito naman kung ikaw ay may-ari ng isang business or corporation. And this one, ganun din yata siguro, ang amount of the earnings of the corporate. Tax rates vary depending on the income bracket. So, maybe corporate income tax and individual income tax have the same percentages that's shown here. I will just, you can do further research about this if you want to learn more. Now, VAT, the value-added tax or the VAT is a consumption tax applied at each stage of production. So standard rate is 12% on most goods and services. So certain goods may be exempted or zero rated in tax. So 12% po, pag sinabing VAT, value-added tax like your gasoline. Actually, parang IVAT na yata ang gas eh. In your grocery, makikita nyo po sa resibo ninyo, actual price and VAT, di ba? Magkakaroon po ng 12% more. Kung nakikita nyo po minsan sa mga receipts, the value plus the 12, ang tunay na price, and the 12 kasi sabi mo, 199 yung isang set ng meal. And then you can see there na separately, ay nakabiyak po yung prices niya. 100, 100, pagpalagay natin 80, plus 19 pesos, that's your value-added tax, which is incorporated into the payment that you have in the receipt. So, yun na yung price. So, included na in the price yung VAT or the value-added tax. So, property tax overview, imposed on real estate properties owned by individuals or corporation. So, rates depend also on the property's assessed value. Pero ito nakita ko na to class. Property tax is actually assessed by the local government and then napakababa po talaga ng value compared to the kapag pinenta mo ito outside, privately. Kumbaga pinapa-assess ang value, for example, tulad ng lupa ng mga lolo ko sa probinsya, it's like 6.8 hectares. Pero value niya is only like 1 million. Pero kung ibibenta yun, actually, it can be worth 100, 200 million pesos sa lapad. Diba? For privately paying it. So, local government units collect property taxes. Ito po yung amilyar na binabayaran natin po. Diba? If you're an owner of the land or the lot na inyo pong kinatitirikan, you have your property tax which you need to pay doon po sa every year sa inyo pong munisipyo for property taxation or property taxes of building and the land that you na kinatitirikan ng inyong bahay. So, other types of taxes include excise tax. So, dito po pumapasok yung sa tobacco or sa cigarettes and alcohol. So, cigarettes and alcohol have a more higher tax compared to your common goods. Ito yung ginagamit kumbaga pangbisyo. Mga pangbisyo. Cigarettes and alcohols are all may pinapataw pa pong excise tax na extra. Parang as high as 20% yata itong excise tax. So maliban sa tax na VAT na nakalagay na 12%, dinadagdagan pa po. Kaya siguro nagtataka kayo kung bakit ang mahal-mahal ng sigarilyo, ang mahal-mahal ng alak compared previously, di ba? Included also in the excise tax is your soft drinks yata, kasama na rin. Carbonated drinks or sugar drinks ay tumaas na rin po ang mga value nila kasi nadagdagan sila ng EVAT or also excise tax din para sa alcohol and other things that you need to buy. So sigarilyo talaga is one primary example. Ang mahal-mahal na po, di ba? Dati nasa 3 pesos lang, 4 pesos ang isang stick, and then bigla naging 10 pesos siya because it was applied with additional taxes like this excise tax. So estate tax is the tax of on the transfer of property upon death. Halimbawa, pinamana sa iyo ng magulang mo yung lupa't bahay, then you have to pay the estate tax. So, etong pinaka-common din, isa sa mga pinaka-common which you are also doing, especially during enrollment, diba? Or getting your transcript of records. Transcript of records ay nagbabayad po tayo ng documentary stamp tax. Okay? So, nabibili yata to 20 pesos per piece. Ngayon yata for 50 na ng isang documentary stamp. And that is also a way for earning ng munisipyo ninyo or ng yung locality kung saan po, or local government, kung saan nyo binibili ang document stamp. Like MPC. MPC buys the documentary stamp if it's available on the registrar office po na dinidikit po sa ating mga transcript. Kasi may time po na nakakabili kami sa registrar, may time din na wala silang available na stamp. These stamps are bought in the municipio or the municipal hall and also used, and the payment that you gave there for that income for the documentary stamp is going to be one of the taxes or amount that is considered income of the government. Next is your tax identification number. The TIN is a unique number assigned to taxpayers. It's required for filing taxes and conducting businesses. So, obtaining a TIN is essential for compliance. Hindi ka pwedeng magtrabaho na wala kang TIN number. And right now, nowadays, napakadali na lang po mag-apply for a TIN number. All you have to do is go online with BIR, na Bureau of Internal Revenue, and then the system will let you get your own tax number, and then kung kailangan mo ng picture, you just go to the certain office or site kung saan ay pwede pong magkaroon ka ng ID kung gustuhin mo. But if it's just number that you want to obtain, you can do it online. Napakadali na lang po. And every individual before or during getting a job is required to have a TIN number. So, dapat may TIN number kayo. Kahit in your age, no? Kahit di pa kayo working, you can start obtaining your own TIN number. Kasi anytime your employees or TIN ID, pwede na po kayong kumuha. And anytime an employer na mapasukan nyo ng trabaho, you can submit that number agad-agad para hindi na kayo mahirapan. The next one is filing and payment of taxes. So meron po tayong annual income tax returns. So, meron po specific deadline at may penalty din po for late payments. So, online platforms simplify the filing process. Pwede na rin po tayo mag-file online dahil po medyo madali na. Pero nakikita nyo yun, di ba sa TV dati na kapag deadline na ay nag-uunahan sa pila na tatambak yung mga payers ng tax. It's because may penalty po kapag na-late po tayo ng filing. So, I think January to April, doon po dinideclare ng BIR kung ano ang deadline ng ating tax returns or pagbayad ng ating tax annually. Kung hindi po yan pinaprocess ng HR kung saan ka nagtatrabaho. So, depende po yan sa HR nyo Now, if you own the business at or ikaw ang HR, ikaw talaga magpa-file yan for your employees. So, medyo, matrabaho din po yon. Next one is, as taxpayer, you also have the rights, including fair treatment and privacy. So, taxpayer rights and responsibilities, you are also responsible for accurate reporting and timely payment. So, how do you think understanding your rights can help you as a taxpayer? Ano ba yung mga rights ninyo that are included as a taxpayer? Importance of tax compliance. So, bakit kailangan nating magbayad ng tax on time? So, compliance ensures funding for public services. So, imagine if all people in the Philippines would not pay taxes. Paano po yun? E di lalo tayong mababaon sa ating national debt or yung utang ng ating bansa. Umaabot na nga daw po ng ilan ng trillion na po yung ating utang. On the last budget hearing po ng Senate and Congress, di ba? We are aware that our national debt is already getting blown up to the maximum level. Kumbaga, apo natin ay magbabayad na po ng utang ng Pilipinas. So, it also helps us avoid legal penalties and fines that the BIR, or Bureau of Internal Revenue, is imposing on those who don't pay the taxes. It's even in the Philippine Constitution na nandun po ang ating obligation to pay our dues or our taxes that should ensure the services for the public, and this contributes to the national development as well and the economic growth of our country. This one is engaging with taxation. So, how do taxes impact your daily life? This could be, you could share your answer as well dito po sa ating YouTube comment section. Pwede po itong sagutin ninyo na questions. May tatlo po dito. How do taxes impact your daily life? So, I'll give you an example. Even kapag sumasakay po kayo ng jeep or you're already paying taxes dyan, with the shampoo you used on your the minimum fare is already dictated by the government then, and that includes also na kahit papano po ay makabalik naman yung piniling gasolina ng drivers or ng may-ari ng mga sasakyan or public utility vehicles na yan para po may balik naman yung pambayad nila sa taxes on the operation na kailangan nilang gawin for the public transportation. So, isa pa po yun is the breakfast you ate na galing po sa grocery. Even yung itlog na binili mo sa tindahan, you're also paying the tax na binabayaran po ng tindahan as for getting the business permit. Yun po, kailangan po nilang magbayad ng taxes. So, kayo, in a way, you are paying for the part na pinabayad sa business ng business tax ng binilhan mong tindahan. The shampoo you bought in the grocery store is also carries the tax that you need to pay. And even the bread in the bakery that you bought today, yung binili nyo sa food no, yan po ay may mga taxes po nakapatong na sinisingil sa inyo. So, what are your thoughts in the fairness of the tax system? Sa tingin nyo ba fair yung hinihinging tax sa atin ng Philippine government? Especially, you can go back to the bracket of income or income bracket na pinakita ko sa inyo kanina sa ibang slides, di ba? And you can refer to those. Sa tingin nyo ba fair yun, yung 10 million, 3 million halos ang pupunta sa tax, 3 to 4 million ang mapupunta sa tax. So, sa tingin nyo rin ba yung mga minimum wage earners ay walang sinisingil na tax? Is it fair also? Tama po ba yun? So, how can you contribute to the tax compliance in your community? For example, paano po, ikaw ba ay nagdi-declare ng tama sa sedula na binabayaran mo? Diba? Yung iba nga, diba, they can get away with saying unemployed sila kasi hindi naman sine-check po ng cashier ng nagbibigay ng sedula kung ikaw nga ay nagtatrabaho o hindi, di ba? So, in what way will you help contribute? How will you contribute to the tax compliance dun lang sa community nyo, di ba? So, how will you help? In the larger aspect, yung national government natin. If you have a business, may small online business ka, will you declare the income ng tama or gusto mo bang dayain? So, you can comment your own opinion, your opinion about these 3 questions that I gave you here. And pili lang po kayo kung ano pong gusto nyo sagutin sa mga tanong na yan. At i-post nyo lang po sa comment section ng ating YouTube lecture. So, understanding tax compliance is crucial para po mapatuloy po ang ating government services. So, it also involves accurately reporting your income and paying taxes on time. So, kasama po dyan yung tamang pagdi-declare ng ating mga kinikita as well as paying taxes sa tamang panahon. Kasi may iba po for example lang, no, yung pagpaparehistro ng sasakyan. You are also paying road tax there. So, pag hindi mo pinarehistro sa sasakyan mo, yes, especially private cars, di ba? Hindi po madaling ma-monitor except lang kapag na-checkpoint ka randomly. Pwede kang gumamit ng road, pwede kang gumasgas ng kalsada, but you are not paying the correct tax for your for your registration, included in your registration of the system. Now, tax audits and investigation. So, tax audits are conducted to ensure compliance and accuracy in tax filing. So, meron pong mga surprise visits ang ating Bureau of Internal Revenue, as well as nire-review po nila kung ano po yung inyong income na tunay. Kaya, pwede po siyang maging random or triggered by discrepancies in the reported income. Pag nakita nila, hindi naman totoong ganito lang yung income niya for the year. Bakit parang may mali dito sa pinasa niyang income? So, lalo na kapag nababalita, for example, online sellers, they are declaring every day, ang yabang-yabang nila, in one day, I earn 1 million. Pagdating sa pagbabayad ng buwis, iba yung dinideclare nila. So, especially those who are like multi-millionaires na mga yumaman sa online business, di ba? Medyo exposed sila sa media. That's why people are aware of how much they earn. And sometimes they even pinagyayabang po nila na kung gaano kalaki ang kanilang earnings on the online business. So, minsan, these discrepancies, pagdating po ng BIR, iba yung pinasa nila. So, ang tendency is talagang i-random check kayo or it can be triggered na kayo po ay check dahil may mga mali-mali po sa declarations nyo. So, how would you feel if you were selected for that surprise audit? What would you do? So, pwede nyo rin pong sagutin tong tanong na to. Paano kung ikaw yung mali? Di ba? Hindi mo sinasadya or sinasadya man. What would you do? Now, second to the last slide is global comparisons, the Philippine taxes compared with other countries. So, tax systems vary worldwide, iba-iba po. Some countries have higher or lower rates of taxes. For example, po in Canada, di ba, marami tayong OFW and they say, ang laki-laki halos half daw ng kanilang earnings, they go to the taxes of the government. Paano po nangyayari po yun? Kapag resident ka na, if you are a permanent resident of Canada, kasi may mga classmates po kung ganun, and they are even sharing their thoughts about that. Sabi, biruin mo, mag-earn ka, and then 40% of that goes to the government. Kung imagine mo, kung 10,000 sweldo mo kada buwan, ang 4,000 yan pupunta sa tax lang. Pero maganda naman po ang government nila kasi doon marami silang as in pag na-hospital ka, wala ka talagang babayaran. Pag nanganak ka, ikaw pa yung bibigyan ng pera ng government to take care of the child. Kapag may education ng mga anak, pag doon mo pinanganak ang anak mo, libre lahat. So, understanding these differences can provide insights into economic policies. So, if you can, please also dig deeper into other countries' taxes and you can compare which country's tax system you find most interesting and why. Pwede nyo rin po i-share yung information na to in the YouTube links, okay? So, you can do a short research perhaps after this, kahit sa Google lang, makikita mo ano bang bansa ang maganda ang taxation. And sagutin nyo po, share with us why you think so. So the future of taxation in the Philippines sa ngayon po, digitalization is changing how taxes are collected and managed. You don't need to fall in line na tulad noon kasi ngayon pwede na po sa uh, digital platform. Pwede na, you can pay through GCash or other means, di ba, may mga bayad center na. So potential reforms may impact tax rates and compliance processes. So these potential reforms po ay nagpapadali po ng pag-payment, di ba? So even our Meralco, di ba, dali-dali na mag-pay. Everything is online right now. You don't need to fall in line anymore. Lalo na po kung pag-deadline na po ng submission of taxes ng annual income return, income tax returns natin. So, hindi na tayo kailangan pumila ng pagkahaba-haba at makipagsiksikan pa. So, how do you envision, even despite all these technologies na tumutulong sa atin ngayon to process the taxation in the Philippines, how do you envision the future that can affect your generation and the future generations to come? So you can share your thoughts about this question also on the YouTube link if this is the question that you want to answer or share your thoughts of. So thank you so much for this last topic that we have for your readings in Philippine history. And this is your Ma'am Hazel for your My Soksai Med media, my Soksai Med media account na inyo pong na-visit. Thank you for subscribing and for being with me throughout all the lectures of your readings in Philippine history. I hope you learned something for this semester and hope to see you on the other subjects that we have for social sciences. Thank you and have a nice day.